I'm Joe Copeland, the Executive Director for National AMBUCS. AMBUCS is a public charity, and we're focused on helping people with disabilities around mobility, fitness, opportunity, independence. And we focus on smaller niche projects, things that will impact mobility and independence, but that go unfunded by insurance or by government. I think mobility for most people is what you take for granted. You can get up, you can walk around, you can walk down the street, you can jump in your car and go to the grocery store. If you have mobility issues, maybe for a variety of reasons, it might be you have some disability, you might have been born with it, you might have been injured, all sorts of things. So your mobility is impaired, meaning you can't do those things that we all take for granted. Years ago, I joined AMBUCS because of the involvement in the community aspect. I could be in something and as a means to give back, as a way to say I want to be part of this community and have an effect on it. Yeah, chapters come in all shapes and sizes, and chapters develop their own culture. And some think really big, some think smaller. So their fundraising challenges revolve around those issues. What are they going to take on? What's the need or the purpose in their community? What's the gap that they're trying to fill? And if they think big enough, if they make their mission big enough, if they make the reason to fundraise big enough, then that tends to follow. What we've tried to do is marry rehabilitation with basic bike technology. Our riders have balance issues, have impairments, so they need specially made equipment that will get them balanced, help them feel safe and comfortable and balanced, and then you'd be amazed who can ride a bike. We see that all the time with our kids. We might have somebody show up for a bike day, and we get him fitted on an Amtrike, get him positioned right, get him feeling safe where he's okay, and he just rides off. And the family's like astounded. He's never been able to ride a bike. Oh, what's that magic? Well, it's not really magic. It's having the right equipment, the right adaptations, and making that available. If you can be balanced and safe, you can translate basic body movements into riding. We learned early on in the project that we needed therapists and appropriate health professionals to be our partners in assessing and adapting equipment. We want to, first of all, be sure that whatever we provide for a rider, whether it's a child or an adult, is the right equipment that they can operate it safely and they can't be hurt by it. Well, therapists are great volunteers for us. That might be physical therapists or occupational therapists or recreation therapists or a wide range. We find that it's really important for them to do those assessments. They view it as a volunteer opportunity. A lot of them are really frustrated, just like the families of the special needs population are frustrated at the lack of availability, what things cost. There's a point I want to make about our therapists being frustrated, and that frustration, what we often see is frustration about getting the resources, the things that their clients need, and the fact that it's not met by government or insurance. And that's where AMBUCS fills that void, can step in and make a big difference for what might be smaller items. Therapists need help in learning about our bike program, and we accomplish that with what we call the Roadshow. And we have 18 trailers now in service around the country that have all our equipment and all those adaptations in. We take a trailer into a community, do a therapist training program to teach them what's available and how it all works and how it fits together, but more importantly, how to add and subtract pieces and parts to have riding solutions. So we hold bike days, which are bike evaluation days, where their clients can come, be assessed, learn what equipment's right for them, and figure out what their riding solution is. This is our 89th annual conference. So we've been at it a long time. The AMBUC's annual conference is about education, it's about recognition, it's about celebration, and it's about learning. I guess it's about motivation, but I think the motivation comes from the energy that people bring to this meeting, and when they see and hear some of the wonderful stories of what people are doing, and they come away inspired, sort of renewed to go back to their communities and take some of those great ideas they heard and implement them in their community. AMBUCs are really a fun, gregarious group. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We take our mission and what we're trying to accomplish seriously, but we want to have fun doing that along the way. And I think that value keys through what our organization does and how our chapters behave. It really is. We've been at the scholarship program for 55 years. We've given almost $8 million to scholarships for therapists. That's kind of a leveraged dollar program is the way we've always looked at it. If we could help young students get into the profession, physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech language pathologists, if we could get those students into the professions, they're going to spend a lifetime working on the population that we want to affect. So if they see 8 patients a day times 5 days a week times whatever, 45 weeks a year, think how many people they touch in a lifetime of work, and we helped enable that, and that history goes back a long way. I think that's really what motivates me to want to do this work, and that's how I recharge my batteries. You're talking about some really motivated kids that hadn't been able to that hadn't been riding bikes before, but we had riding solutions for them. And that's huge to see how people continually react to what it means to them for freedom or mobility, and that's, I think that's what drives me. Well, we started out in pediatrics, and so we were really based on early intervention or trying to affect small children. But children grow. And pretty soon we went, well, wait a minute, our kids now need a bigger size bike, and so we made those. And then those kids grew, and now we need teenage size bikes, and now we need adult size bikes. And it's really progressed like that. Our latest initiative started last fall, and we call it the Veterans Initiative, and we're partnering with veterans organizations, the VA, groups that are fundraising for wounded soldiers or service folks coming back from the wars, and providing them with a new cycle. I thought it was really interesting when James spoke about that issue, about the soldiers coming back wounded and the loss that they feel in their sense of duty and the camaraderie that they get from duty, being with their unit and that whole functioning. And his point was when the group got together and they all got their tricycles or whatever they were going to ride in the ride, they got that sense of cohesion and community back. And that's a really big thing. And if we can do that and provide a venue for those guys who have given so much to be able to regain that feeling, that sense of unit, that's pretty neat. We've got 350 people at this conference, and they're here pretty much. They're here pretty much on their own nickel, and they come because their hearts are really into the cause and the mission and what they're doing, and they're here to learn, to see what other folks are doing and find out what they can take back to their communities and make work.